I'm Jeremy. Today's day 313 of reading. Today reading Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Let's get started. Guys, stop telling me do white chocolate. It's not funny. We're on page 580. Let's go. And no, it's only for the classmates who are in school. "What do you think's happened to Barty Crouch, Minister?" said Moody's growling voice. "I see two possibilities, Alastair," said Fudge. "Either Crouch has finally cracked. More than likely, I'm sure you'll agree, given his personal history. Lost his mind and gone wandering off somewhere. He wandered off extremely quickly, if that is the case, Cornelius," said Dumbledore calmly. "Or else, well," Fudge sounded embarrassed. "Well, I'll reserve judgment until after I've seen the place where he was found. But you say it was just past the books about his carriage? Dumbledore, do you know what that woman is?" "I consider her to be a very able headmistress and an excellent dancer," said Dumbledore quietly. "Dumbledore, come," said Fudge angrily. "Don't you think you might be prejudiced in her favor because of Hagrid? They don't all turn out harmless, if indeed you call Hagrid harmless. With that monster fixation he's got, I no more suspect Madame Maxime than Hagrid," said Dumbledore, just as calmly. "I think it is possible that it is you who are prejudiced, Cornelius." "Can we wrap up this discussion?" growled Moody. Yes, let's go down to the grounds then," said Fudge impatiently. "No, it's not that," said Moody. "It's just that Potter wants a word with you, Dumbledore. He's just outside the door." The door of the chapter 30, the pensieve. Sounds like a weapon. The door of the office opened. "Hello, Potter," said Moody. "Come in, then." Harry walked inside. He had been inside Dumbledore's office once before. It was a very beautiful circular room, lined with pictures of previous headmasters and headmistresses of Hogwarts, all of whom were fast asleep, their chests rising and falling gently. Cornelius was standing beside Dumbledore's desk, wearing his usual pinstriped cloak and holding his lime green bowler hat. "Harry," said Fudge jovially, moving forward. "How are you?" "Fine," said Harry. "Fine," Harry lied. "We were just talking about the night when Mr. Crouch turned up on the grounds," said Fudge. "It was you who found him, was it not?" "Yes," said Harry. Then, feeling it was pointless he pretend and he hadn't overheard what they had been saying, he added, "I didn't see Madame Maxime anywhere, though, and she'd have a job hiding, wouldn't she?" Dumbledore smiled at Harry behind Fudge's back, his eyes twinkling. Yes, well," said Fudge, looking embarrassed. "We're about to go for a short walk on the grounds. Harry, if you'll excuse us, perhaps if you just want to go back to your class." "I want to talk to you, Professor," Harry said quickly, looking at Dumbledore, who gave him a swift, searching look. "Wait here for me, Harry," he said. "Our examination of the grounds will not take long." They trooped out in silence past him and closed the door. After a minute or so, Harry heard the clunks of Moody's wooden leg growing fainter in the corridor below. He looked around. "Hello, Fawkies," he said. Fawkies, Professor Dumbledore's phoenix, was standing on his golden perch beside the door, the size of the swan, with magnificent scarlet and gold plumage. He switched his long tail and blinked benignly at Harry. Harry sat down in a chair in front of Dumbledore's desk. For several minutes, he sat and watched the old headmasters and headmistresses snoozing in their frames, thinking about what he had just heard and running his finger over his scar. It had stopped hurting now. He felt much calmer, somehow, now that he was in Dumbledore's office, knowing he would surely be telling him about the dream. Harry looked up at the wall behind the desk. The patched and ragged sorting hat was standing on the shelf. A glass case next to it held a magnificent silver sword with large rubies set into the hilt, which Harry recognized as the one he himself had pulled out of the sorting hat in his second year. The sword had once belonged to Godric Gryffindor, founder of Harry's house. He was gazing at it, remembering how it had come to his aid when he thought all hope was lost, when he noticed a patch of silvery light, dancing and shimmering on the glass case. He looked around for source of the light and saw a sliver of silver white shining brightly from within a black cabinet behind him, whose door had not been closed properly. Harry hesitated, glanced at Fawkes, then got up, walked across the office, and pulled open the cabinet door. A shallow stone basin lay there, with odd carvings around the edges, runes and symbols that Harry did not recognize. The silvery light was coming from the basin's contents, which were like nothing Harry had ever seen before. He could not tell whether the substance was liquid or gas. It was a bright whitish silver. It was moving ceaselessly. The surface of it became ruffled like water beneath wind, and then, like clouds, separated and swirled smoothly. It looked like light made liquid, or like wind made solid. Harry couldn't make up his mind. He wanted to touch it, to find out what it had felt like, but nearly 4 years of experience of the magical world told him that sticking his hand into a bowl full of unknown substance was a very stupid thing to do. He therefore pulled his wand out of the inside of his rose, cast a nervous look around the office, looked back at the contents of the basin, and prodded them. The surface of the silvery stuff in the basin began to swirl very fast. Harry bent closer, his head right into the cabinet. The silver substance had become transparent. It looked like glass. He looked down into it, expecting to see the stone bottom of the basin, and saw instead an enormous room below the surface of the mysterious substance. A room into which he seemed to be looking through a circular window in the ceiling. The room was dimly lit. He thought it might even be underground, for there were no windows, merely torches and brackets, and such as the one that illuminated the walls of Hogwarts. Lowering his face so that his nose was a mere inch away from the glassy substance, Harry saw that rows and rows of witches and wizards were seated around every wall on what seemed to be benches rising in levels. An empty chair stood in the very center of the room. There was something about the chair that gave Harry an ominous feeling. Chains encircled the arms of it, as though its occupants were usually tied to it. Where was this place? It wasn't Hogwarts. He had never seen a room like that here in the castle. Moreover, the crowd in the mysterious room at the bottom of the basin was comprised of adults, and Harry knew they were not nearly that many teachers at Hogwarts. They seemed, he thought, to be waiting for something. Even though he could only see the top of their hats, all of their faces seemed to be pointing in one direction, and none of them were talking to each other. The basin being circular and the room he was observing square, Harry could not make out what was going on in the corners of it. He leaned even closer, tilting his head, trying to see. The tip of his nose touched the strange substance in which he was staring. Dumbledore's office gave an almighty lurch. Thank you, everyone. That's all for today. Bye. See you tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to read page 585. Bookmark. Close. Put away. Peace out.